Hi Minister Harris, I want to ask you, how does coronavirus spread and what can I do to stop it?
Well, hi Ryan, thanks a million for your question. And what I really love about your question is that you're asking what you can do to help. And that's actually the key to this. Because lots of people are saying, what can the government do? What can doctors do? And we're all going to do lots of things to help. But you know who can actually do the most? It's you. It's you and your family. So what you can do to help stop the spread of this virus, it's a couple of really simple things. We need you to wash your hands. And we need you to wash your hands more often than you usually would. And we need you to wash them for at least 20 seconds. Now, the way they've taught that to me is you should basically sing happy birthday twice. That takes you roughly 20 seconds. If you're a bad singer like me, sing it in your head so as not to upset everybody else. When you cough, try not to cough into your hand because that spreads germs. This is a virus that contains lots of germs. And if you cough into your hand, it's going to spread all around the place. So cough into your elbow like this. And if you use a tissue, get rid of that tissue straight away. Try not to touch your face, because if you touch your face, you're spreading the germs as well. And maybe the most difficult thing we need you to do, but we really do need you to do this to help keep everybody safe, is we need you to keep your distance. So as people, we like meeting up with our friends, maybe going out and playing our sport, going to school. We can't do that for the next few weeks. We need to keep our distance. So if you are meeting up with anyone, try and make sure there's at least 2 meters between you and them. That basically means it's harder for the germs to spread. So you asked me, how does this spread? It basically spreads by germs that might be in us getting out the air and getting to other people. So that's why if you cough and you don't cover it up properly with your elbow, you can spread and make other people sick. It can also live on your hands. So wash your hands, cough into your elbow, and try and keep your distance. If you do that, you're going to do everything you can to help people keep people safe in our country. And I'm going to do everything I can to work with you to keep people safe as well.
Why can people not come to anyone else's birthday party?
My birthday's on the 15th of April. When can I have my party? If you're free, you can come.
Well, Jack and Quinn, thanks so much for the questions. We all love going to parties, and we all particularly love going to each other's birthday parties. And I know birthday parties are even a bigger deal when we're children. I remember mine. But we just have to keep apart for the next few weeks because we're trying not to spread these germs and make each other sick. So Quinn, if your birthday is coming up in April, I need you to do me a favour. I need you maybe to put off the big party for another couple of weeks. But I'm sure your parents are going to make sure you have a really good day at home with your family that day. I'm sure you'll still get your presents and looked after. And I'll make a deal with you. If you hold off on having your proper party, we'll have your birthday party when we get through this pandemic. I'll come along and I'll even bring a present.
Why can't you go to your nana and granddad at the minute? I don't have the virus. Why can my nanny not go for a sleepover?
We all love our nannies and our granddads, and I have one nana myself, and I miss not being able to visit her as well. But what we have to try and do over the next couple of weeks, and I know it can be really upsetting at times, we have to just try and stay apart. Because this virus that you're hearing lots about on the news and maybe lots about from your parents, it can make older people sick. So what we need to do is make sure that if we have any germs in our body, that we don't make older people sick, that we keep our granny and our granddad safe. But that doesn't mean you can't talk to them. So make sure you ring them. If you got FaceTime, make sure you FaceTime them and say hello to them and tell them that you love them. And we're going to get through this. And in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to beat this virus and you're going to get to see Granny and Grandad again.
Why can't we go outside and play with our friends? Why can't we see our friends? And why can't we go to visit them?
Well, Roisin, thanks a million for your question. And I know we're asking you to do something that's really hard at the minute because we all love going out and playing with our friends and meeting up, and maybe even sometimes we like school, and maybe now that it's not on, we're realising that we might like it more than we even thought. But what we have to do for the next couple of weeks to try and make sure everybody in our country stays really safe and well is not spread these germs around. So if we want to beat this virus and make sure people don't get sick, we have to make sure we keep the germs to ourselves and we don't make our friends sick. So if you were going to keep meeting up with your friends and go out, there's a chance that you'd make them sick, and I know you wouldn't want that. So for the next couple of weeks, I need you to look at doing different things. You can still have fun in your house. I'm sure maybe there's books that you might like to read or games that you might like to play, or maybe you have brothers and sisters as well. And we're going to get through this in a couple of weeks, and then you'll be back out playing with your friends, and maybe you'll be even back to school. But I need you really to do your very best to help us beat this virus. Because as the health minister, I can do lots of things to help, and the doctors and the nurses will do lots of things to help people who are sick. But you can actually do loads. If you do what we're asking you and wash your hands really well, cough properly into your elbow and don't let your germs spread all over the place, and keep your distance, keep away from your friends for a few weeks, even though that's really tough, you're going to help make sure we keep everybody safe and well in Ireland.
Can kids catch the coronavirus? What do you need to do when you have the coronavirus?
So Conor, I don't want you to be too worried because yes, children can get this virus, but in general, children aren't getting very sick from it. But what you can do, and this is what I need you to help me with, is you could have the germs in your body, and if you start coughing properly or don't wash your hands properly, you could actually make other people sick. That's why we're asking everybody to try and stay at home. That's why we've closed down our schools and cancelled lots of our sports events. Amelia, if you're not feeling well, what you need to do in the first case is obviously talk to your mom or your dad, and then they can ring your local doctor, your GP, and they'll be able to look after you and mind you. So please don't be worried. I know we all get worried. I get worried as well, and that's okay. But you shouldn't be too worried. This is a virus with lots of germs going around our country and going around the world, but we have the best doctors and the best nurses working really hard to keep us safe. And everyone here, where I work, in the Department of Health is working really hard too. But we do need your help, and I am asking for your help in making sure you do your little bit too. Washing your hands, not coughing out into the air but into your elbow, and doing what your mum and dad say, because this is a tough time for your mum and dad too. Maybe lots of people are having to spend lots of time at home together. Maybe your mom or dad is having to work from home, or maybe they can't go to work for the next few weeks. So do your best to be really kind. If you've got brothers and sisters, try and be nice to them too. I know we can all have family rows, but let's try and be extra kind to people. Help your mum and dad out around the house. And the more we actually do to look after each other, the quicker we're going to get rid of this virus so we can all get back to normal.
Would children have to stay in hospital alone without their parents if they got the virus?
Well, hi Logan, and thanks for the question. So the first thing is, please don't worry. Most people who get this virus will never need to go to hospital. They reckon if 10 people got the virus in Ireland, about 8 of those people will never need to go to hospital. They'll just need to stay home with their mum and dad and maybe drink some flat 7-Up and take some medicine their mum and dad will give them. For some people, a small amount of people, they might need to go to hospital. And if you need to go to hospital, you'll be looked after really, really well by our doctors and our nurses. And of course, your mum and dad will be able to see you as well. But do remember, most children, and indeed most people, will never need to go to hospital. If you want to keep safe and well, though, I need you to do what the doctors are asking all of us to do. And you're hearing me talking about this an awful lot. You're probably getting bored every time you turn on the telly, people telling you to wash your hands and cough properly. But we're telling you to do that because that's going to help keep us all safe and well.
How long will we have to stay off school?
So Lily, I don't know how long we're going to stay off school. I remember when I was in school, if we got a few days off, that would be great. But I can imagine now it might be getting a bit boring. You might be missing your friends. You might be wishing you could go back and see your teachers and do the fun subjects that you enjoy doing. And I know lots of your teachers are working to try and make sure you can still learn at home. So I don't want to be that annoying person that tells you this, but I do need you to do some schoolwork while you're at home as well and listen to your mom or your dad as well. I don't know how long you're going to have to stay off school, but we want to get you back to school as quickly as possible. But the reason we're asking you to stay at home is so we don't all spread these nasty germs and make more people sick in our country.
How does coronavirus get to different countries?
And Lily, your second question, how did the virus get to Ireland, or how does the virus get around the world? That's a really good question, and some of the best and most intelligent doctors in the world are thinking about that right now. But I'll tell you simply how it gets there. If you think about it, in all of our bodies we can have germs. And if we sneeze or if we cough or if we don't wash our hands, those germs can pass on to other people. And then those people move from one town or village in one country to another, and it spreads around the world. And now we have this virus in well over 100 countries right across the world. So doctors are learning more about it every single day. But in your own house and in your own town or wherever you live, you can do your part to slow it down. Because what the virus hates is clean hands. It hates when people cough properly, and it hates when we keep apart, because if we keep apart from each other, it makes it harder for the germs to jump from one of us to the other.
Can you explain to me how it would be like for children to get tested? Thank you.
So Logan, if you're not feeling well, maybe if you have a temperature or a cough or a sore throat, you should obviously talk to your mom or your dad or whoever minds you. And if they think you need some more advice, they'll ring your local doctor. And if your local doctor thinks you need a test, they'll book you in for one. And we've set up places right across the country where you can go and get a test. It's not sore, it doesn't last long at all, and they'll then send that test off to a laboratory where a scientist will look at it and see if you have the virus or not. But don't be afraid, because I know that can sound a little bit scary. This is a virus that a lot of children don't get, and if you do get it, most children will be very, very well, very, very quickly and can be minded and looked after at home.
I'd like to know if children are able to handle the coronavirus more than adults, and why is that?
So generally when we're children and when we're young, we tend to be fit and we tend to be healthy. And that means if we get germs in our bodies, like this virus, it generally means we can fight it better and we can get better quicker. But if you're a bit older, or maybe if you're sick already with something else, it can be harder for your body to fight those germs. That's why it's really important that even though kids mightn't get very sick with this virus, it's really important that you don't spread those germs around. Because we all love our grannies and our granddads and people in our families and people who live in our towns and our villages, and we don't want to make any of them sick as well. So yeah, don't be worried. Generally, children are okay in relation to this virus, and if many of you get it, you'll be okay at home as well. You might be feeling a little bit unwell for a few days, and your mum and your dad will look after you and talk to your doctor. But what you don't want to do, and none of us want to do, is make somebody in our family or somebody in our community sick. So that's why you got to do as I'm asking you in terms of washing your hands, coughing properly, and keeping away from your friends for a few weeks, even though I know that's really difficult.
How many times do we need to wash our hands per day?
We're not giving you an exact number, Maev and Elliot, as to how many times you need to wash your hands, but you definitely need to wash them more often than you usually do, and you need to wash them longer than you usually do. There's some really good videos up on websites like hse.ie, which show you how to wash your hands properly, and RTE have made really good videos about this as well. You should be washing your hands for around 20 seconds, and you need to wash them properly as well with lots of soap and warm water.
I would like to ask Minister Harris if my dog can get Covid-19.
Roisin, we don't think your dog can get Covid-19 at the moment, so doctors are learning lots more about this virus nearly every day. Remember, about 3 or 4 months ago, doctors had never even heard of this new virus, Covid-19. So at the moment, we think your pets are safe. But remember, this might be a chance for you to look after your dog. You might be spending more time at home, so maybe you can play with them out in the garden a little bit more. Maybe you can take them for walks, but only in very small groups of people, ideally just with people in your family. And you might have heard that the government made a decision recently to close some shops, but not pet food shops as well, so you'll still be able to buy the food and the things you need to look after your dog.
Hi Simon, if we're off school until the summer, does that mean we'll have to repeat a year?
Hi Ella. No, we don't want you to have to repeat a year, so we want to make sure that particularly people who are in secondary school and have big exams coming up, like the Leaving Cert, we want to make sure that those exams can go ahead. And my friend Joe McHugh, who's the Minister for Education, is working really hard to make sure that happens. For the rest of you in school who maybe don't have those big exams this year, it's really important that you do a little bit of schoolwork at home. I know that might make me sound like an awful pain. Maybe you just want to be playing with your toys or talking to your family or your brothers and sisters, but we do need you to do that work. And I suppose being home after a while can get a little bit boring, so maybe the schoolwork can help keep us all busy too. So I know lots of your teachers are working really hard to send you schoolwork, to talk to you. Many of them are talking to their students over the internet as well. And I know RTE are also providing programmes to help you learn as you stay at home. So we're not planning for you to have to repeat the year, but we do need you to do a little bit of work, even though you're at home.
My question to you is, how did the coronavirus start?
We're learning an awful lot about the coronavirus, and as I was saying just a minute ago, this is a virus that doctors only learnt about a couple of months ago. But it looks like the virus started in China, and then the virus travelled throughout the world. And one of the ways the virus travels is by people not having clean hands maybe, or people coughing their germs or sneezing their germs into the air and passing them on to other people. So if we want to slow it down and stop it spreading around our country and make sure lots and lots of people don't get sick and lots of people don't end up in hospital, we all have to do our bit to listen to what the doctors are telling us to do. Even though sometimes that's going to be really hard, because we like meeting up with our friends, we like going to school, we like having birthday parties, we like hanging out. But if we do this, the prize is we'll keep people in Ireland really safe and really well, and we'll make sure lots of people don't get sick.
Hi, I'm Ethan and I'm from Donegal. I'm 10 years old and I have asthma. Is it extra dangerous for me to get coronavirus?
So Ethan, I don't want you to be particularly worried, because people are working really, really hard in our country to make sure we beat this virus and keep everybody well. But you'll know if you have asthma that your mom or your dad or whoever minds you in your family will often be keeping an eye, making sure that you're well, and maybe asking you to do things just to make sure that you do keep well and that your asthma doesn't get too bad. So if you feel unwell at any time, you need to obviously talk to your parent and they can talk to the doctor. But if you can follow the advice that we're giving everyone, mainly staying apart from people and keeping a bit of distance for the next few weeks, I'm sure we'll be able to keep you safe and well.
If you have it once, can you get it again?
We're learning about this all the time, but we don't think if you've gotten it once, you can get it a second time. But I have to be honest, doctors are still learning lots about this every day.
Do you do any follow-up
So Calder, from what I'm reading about this virus, if you get it, you generally don't get sick like that. But we're sending a booklet into every single house in the country, be delivered by your postman or woman, and maybe you've gotten it already. If not, you'll get it in the next few days. And that lists the things that you might feel unwell with. And in the meantime, if you're waiting for that book, if you go to hsc.ie, you can read more. But it generally means that you might have a fever, a temperature, you might have a sore throat or a lot of coughing. Maybe sometimes you need to go to the bathroom a little bit more too. So lots of information available on hsc.ie. But generally, from what I can read, it doesn't make you throw up.
Does the coronavirus live on money? And if so, how long does it last on money?
Well, Danny, this is a really good question, and I went and asked a doctor in the department to help about this today so I could make sure I got you the best answer. So I'm told you don't need to be worried about the coronavirus living on money, but what we are trying to do is we are trying to make sure people use their card more often, because remember, we're trying not to have to touch hands with people. We're trying not to spread the germs on our hands. So you might see that your mom or your dad or whoever's looking after you is using their card more often and tapping that card, because that just means that there's less contact that you're having to make with other people's hands.
When will we be back to normal, like go to places and be back at school and activities?
Logan, I really wish I could give you the answer to that question. It's a question I'm asking every day. It's a question we're all wondering in our lives, because we're asking people to live a bit differently, aren't we? We all like going out. We like meeting our friends, going to work, going to school, going to different sports events. And I know an awful lot of that has stopped now. And that's really, really hard. And while it might have been kind of interesting or fun for a couple of days to be off school, it certainly isn't now. And I get that. So what we need to do as a country is work really, really hard at home, listening to our parents, listening to the doctors who are telling us what to do as they ask in terms of washing our hands, coughing properly, keeping our distance from each other. And the more of that we can do over the next few weeks, the greater chance we have of being able to end this a bit quicker so we can all get back to normal, because I know that's what we want to do. So we are working every minute of every day to try and make sure you can get back to normal as quickly as possible. But we really, really need your help.
When this is all over, can we please have a National Children's Day, please?
Well, Logan, only if I can come as well. I think when this is all over, we're going to need to have a big party as a country, because we're asking people to not have birthday parties, to not go to school, to not meet up with their friends. And I know that's really tough. And after a while, it gets even more tough. I get that. So when this is over, we're going to have some gatherings across our country where people get to come together, celebrate, see each other, give each other hugs, shake hands again, which we're not allowed to do. So we're going to do all those things in a few months. And we're going to look back and we're going to say, you know what? That was a really tough time. It was a really hard time for our family. I missed my friends. I wasn't able to do the things, but we made sure we looked after each other and we kept each other safe and well.